Thank you, Father Bauer, Father Becker, Father Gitter, honored guests, and my brothers. Quote, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And these words that Jesus spoke to St. Paul in a vision are the same words that he has spoken to my heart, and he has called me to be his son and an instrument of his love in a very unique way. I don't want to stand here and claim that I have a common vocation story. Rather, I desire to explain how my story isn't finished and is one of never-ending wonder of the power of God. This story begins in New Bern, North Carolina, where I was born and raised through middle school. At the very heart of my life, beyond my family, was the parish in this exponentially growing community. I was fortunate enough to attend Catholic school from pre-kindergarten through 8th grade and was surrounded by holy religious sisters, teachers, and several priests who were great role models at my young age. One of the most influential priests was Monsignor Jones. Monsignor was never shy to tell me of the vocation he saw in me. Every morning as I'd be walking into school, Monsignor would be walking by with his German shepherd named Job, and he'd stop and tell me a little wisdom for when I would be going to seminary. With Monsignor, it was never if I would be going to seminary, it was always when. He was the priest that baptized me and the one who was present until the time I moved with my family to Wisconsin, at which point the Lord called him into eternal rest, where he continues to be with me in my pursuit of the holy priesthood. With his constant encouragement, the thought of the priesthood continued to grow within my heart as I moved to Wisconsin the spring of my freshman year of high school. Once in Wisconsin, in the town my mother grew up and my grandparents reside, I began to pursue this idea of priesthood more through retreats, especially in a Vienna visit my sophomore year of high school, which really kindled in my heart a desire to pursue this call. As I did, and through some time of turning away from this call and pursuing a life in the political realm, my heart continued to grow restless. Life became more and more of a world of external accomplishments rather than interior happiness, which even at this early time in discernment seemed to be contrary to what the Lord desired for me. This sense of unhappiness and emptiness came to a head in the holy hour of a vocation retreat the Diocese sponsored the summer before my senior year. During this time, I made a blunt request of the Lord, and all but demanded a definitive answer on my vocational call. At that very moment that I prayed, "If you want me to be a priest, I will. I just need you to tell me." He spoke in the silence of my peace-filled heart. At that very moment, I was able to respond wholeheartedly, "Yes." I left that retreat with a determination I had never before, and quite honestly, it can only be from grace. I went home, told my parents, and sent an email to my vocations director that could arguably be the shortest and most important emails I will ever send in my life. Going forward, I was accepted by the Diocese 3 days before Christmas in 2010 and entered SJV that next fall. When I came to this place that we all now hold in different lights, I had no clue what I had just done. There I stood, in my room, alone, and in the place I knew God wanted me to be. But I pleaded with him right then and there that his presence never be forgotten and that his grace be the guiding force of my life from that moment on. As time went on through New Man year and into second year, I was entering into the formation and grew into a deeper relationship with my spiritual director and in turn with the Lord. In the fall of my second year, November 9th to be precise, I was in La Crosse driving one of the senior La Crosse seminarians to his psychological evaluation and was able to spend an entire day in La Crosse by myself. So I thought I'd spend it with Our Lady at the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. This extraordinary place of prayer and peace was the perfect place to spend my day. That day I spent 4 hours in prayer with the rosary, breviary, confession, and Mass. It was truly a day-long retreat for me, which was long overdue at this point in second year. As I sat there in Mass, I noticed a beautiful young family across the aisle of the shrine. Later, I would meet them going down the hill, leaving the shrine church, and would find out just how beautiful a family they were. I found the parents' names were Matthew and Felicity, and the children Michael and Isabel, with one more on the way. Felicity is a third-order missionary of charity. Matthew belongs to a men's group in South St. Paul, and they were married in Brackett, Wisconsin, not far from my hometown, which was celebrated by our very own Father Gitter. We had a great conversation. About my own journey into seminary, their family life, and the connections we had. As we parted at the bottom of the hill, I couldn't help but think about how beautiful a family they were, and this deep sense of longing came to my heart for a family like that. This feeling continued on as the other seminarian and I drove back to St. Paul. We had just made it back in time for the coffee house when this deep sense of longing for a family turned into sadness. As it did, I left the coffee house and came in here into the chapel, the side chapel to be precise, and began to weep. I placed all these feelings and that family on the altar for the Lord to reconcile to his love, and when I did, I heard the voice of God. He spoke almost audibly. You can't have that, but you have me, and I am all you will ever need. These words struck my heart with such a deep peace and helped me realize my own call to the priesthood and the need to depend totally on him. For the next several months, extreme consolation and reflection on what he would do through me, God willing, in a lifetime as his priest. Today, many challenges present themselves every day, especially an ongoing purification of my own will and surrendering everything to him and his divine love. In all of this is his power being perfected. I look at the words St. Paul writes that I mentioned at the beginning, and I truly see how, throughout my entire life, he has been preparing me for this formative time in a lifetime of service to his people. My only prayer is that my heart can truly be open to his will and his power so that I can become his instrument of love in a world that so desperately needs a sign of his love. This is how my vocation story continues and always will continue in the perfection of his love in my heart. Brothers, only through our weaknesses and openness of our hearts can his power truly be perfected in us. So let us rejoice in our weaknesses and bask in his grace so that we can truly become the best version of ourselves. Praise be Jesus Christ.